to the fans what they deserve, what they need, and what they want. And that is putting everything outside the pitch. The first 5-10 minutes was, to be candid with you, the poorest I have seen from a player making his debut. When he came to Tottenham, he told them that their mentality is so weak. I think that.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the ALmedia review show podcast with me, Josiah. So it was actually an eventful weekend of football across the European top 5 leagues, and there were some big games that we'll be taking, most of these games that were played, and then also take a look at how the title race and the respective leagues are shaping up. Because in England, it looks like Liverpool are just not given up at all, with first place. So they recorded a 4-1 win over Ipswich. It was quite a resounding victory for them. Chelsea also have got some goalkeeping issues with Robert Sanchez. We'll be talking about that. Then for Manchester City, after clawing their way from a goal down to win in that game, what was the performance by Omar Mamouche? So the player who joined Eintracht Frankfurt started his very first game for Manchester City. And then for Kuzhanov, the Uzbekistani, who had a first 5 minutes to forget, because those 5 minutes were actually not he actually expected in his debut. Not just that, but Manchester United were also trended after the beat Fulham away from home. So it's not really about, that goal Lisandro Martinez scored. It was a belter though. It was about Ruben Amorim celebrating his 40th anniversary and what he had to say about Marcus Rashford, because he was asked if he was actually how he feels about turning 40, being manager of Manchester United. And he says that the last 2 months, as far as his job is concerned, has actually added 10 more years to his age. So he's no more 40, but he's 50. That's on the flip side. We'll go to Spain. We'll look at Real Madrid. Kylian Mbape's impact, scoring his first ever hat-trick for Real Madrid. And then Barcelona, they look to have turned the corner again. How many times will they do that? Because after, going a couple of games without winning a game in the Laliga, they earned a 7-1 win over Valencia. That's a huge win for them. But then in Italy, Napoli also had to come from a goal down to beat Juventus by 2-1. So Juventus lost for the first time at the season, but Napoli also trying to intensify their title ambition. So it's going to be quite comprehensive on the show. My name is Josiah. Like I always tell you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, be part of the ALmedia Sports channel, because we'll always bring you up to date and up to speed on all the latest happenings, and then also insightful analysis in the world of sports. Let me now introduce my guest to you, and then we can start our discussions. And today I've been joined in the studio by Atiga Mauli Force. He has quite a lengthy name. I can't mention everything. Welcome, Force.
Thank you, Desire.
All right, so for the sake of our viewers whom I believe really love your analysis, you would have to mention your name again. Then we can start with our conversation.
Josiah, sometimes you offend the gods, you understand, because there are certain names that if you want to mention, you would have to pour libation. Okay. You see, and this morning I was late, so I didn't pour libation. So yes,
so I have to pay the penalty for you running late.
Yes.
How do the gods work?
They leave that to me. So if you promise to pay the penalty after here, then no problem. I can mention the name.
No, of course, I don't know how they work though, but I feel they are not logical to some extent.
You are a Christian, right? Yeah. So that is between you and your God. That is between me and my
your logical gods.
You understand?
Your logical gods.
They are my ultimate your friends reality. So that is.
So you mentioned the name. Let's have a conversation on what happened over the weekend, a comprehensive one.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
So the name is Atiga Dumutati Achimapena Banakwe Zavon Tontonya. Yes. So viewers, that's my name.
Okay. Welcome to the show. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. All right, so let me start off with the big game. Okay. Before we go to the big game at the Etihad, Ruben Amorim turns 40, and he was asked that life actually starts at 40 and how he feels about the last couple of months at Manchester United, and he was quick to respond that he's not actually 40, he's 50, because the last 2 months in England has added more. It's been like 10 years, you remember the Odyssey where they had to travel to the island 5 days, was more like 5 years, and so would you side with Ruben Amorim saying that the last 2 months has been like 10 years, so he's now 50 as far as his job at Old Trafford is concerned?
100%, I side with him, because you see, the nature of the work at Manchester United is not like when it was before Sir Alex Ferguson came. You understand? I mean, since Alex Ferguson retired, they have hired over 8 coaches or close to 8 coaches, and the results have been the same. You understand? I mean, we know United to be a winning machine. We know United to be always fighting for championships, to be at the top of the chain, of the food chain. But as I speak with you right now, the last time United made any meaningful impact was when they were second, right, in the league under Amorin and then under Ten Hag. Apart from that, they have been poor, they have been shambolic for the past 13 years. So it tells you the enormity of the work that is at stake or that needs to be done. So for Amorin to say that the past three months has been like 10 years for him is absolutely right, is correct, because the amount of work, the gargantuan nature of work facing him, if he doesn't take care and if he's not ruthless, if he doesn't bring himself into the game, then the player power is going to overwhelm him. That is why he has taken a stand, he has taken a claim to have superiority, to have command over the club. And I think that it is fair and it is proper for him to have said that.
Now let's still stay with Amorim, because after that Hartford win over Fulham, everyone was thinking it was actually the win that would take center stage and actually trend and all that. But later on, there was some comments he made. Some people are saying, it's just too harsh, because he was asked about Marcus Rashford, and he says that, there's no way Marcus Rashford will find himself on a United bench for the foreseeable future. Why? Because work ethics, given everything in training, has been below par, and he would even choose to put a 63-year-old goalkeeper's trainer on the bench ahead of Rashford. Do you think it was too harsh with those comments?
Josiah, in literature, I would have said that is pun. You understand? I mean, he was just playing with the words. If we were doing literature,
literally.
But he is serious, and he meant every single word that he spoke, and that is the truth. And you get to the point for a new coach to have come in, for him to have seen all the players that are at his disposal, and for him to have picked on two particular players. Marcus Rashford and then Garnacho, means that what? He is not telling lies.
He's trying to use them as scapegoats.
No, he's not using them as scapegoats. You see, he's been brought into a particular job, and the job is to overturn the rot that is currently happening at United, where players think that they are bigger than coaches, where players think that they are bigger than the club. And I can tell you for a fact, there's absolutely no player bigger than the institution of Manchester United. Eric Cantona had played for Manchester United. David Beckham had played for Manchester United. Tell me any player bigger when it comes to image rights than David Beckham when he was active. But all these players have passed through the mill. They've gone through the mill to the extent that they were sold when they thought that they were bigger than Manchester United. So for Robin Amorin to come out and say categorically, lucidly, clearly, that what? Marcus Rashford cannot be a part of his team. He is not saying that in a vacuum, but he's saying that based on what he is offering in training.
But what do you think could be the problem with Marcus Rashford?
I really do not know. You understand? Because this is a guy who came into Manchester United.
Do you think the previous coaches have actually had to overlook all these things from Marcus Rashford?
They have overlooked them, but you see, it doesn't necessarily inure to his benefit, because previous coaches have overlooked what he does, to the extent that, a couple of years ago, Mourinho did say that Marcus Rashford is not putting in the work that he needs to put in because he wants to play as a number 9. And Mourinho did say that he is not a number 9. Marcus Rashford is most effective, is at his best when he's coming in from either flanks. I get to the point. But the player wants to play as a number 9. But you see, let's even put that aside. I believe that even if you are not that talented, if you are not that skilled, put in the work. Because you are being paid £350,000 a week.
That's some big money. Yeah?
That is serious money. That is serious quid. Do you know the average salary in the UK? It's £25,000 to £30,000 a year. Do you understand? So if you are getting 15 times, 10 times of that in a week, all you can do is to give to the fans what they deserve, what they need, and what they want. And that is putting everything outside the pitch, right? And then you come onto the pitch, and then you deliver. You see, do you know that sometimes you can come onto the pitch and not have your best day? But don't let a coach or don't let a supporter question your intensity, question your attitude towards the club. That is the biggest problem that players have today. That was the same problem that Mourinho had with what's the name, Dele Alli at Tottenham. It's the same problem Mourinho had with
Is it Luke Shaw?
no, what's the name, the French guy,
Karim Benzema?
no, at United. What's his name? The guy who was banned for
Pogba.
Pogba. Do you understand? You see, they feel like they're bigger than the club. But see, you are a part of the collective. I get to the point. You can leave at any time. You are a player. It is the coach that makes the decision. It is the coach that takes the responsibility for your ineffectiveness. That is why at the end of the day, we don't sack players. We sack coaches because they are taking the greater share of the responsibility. So to me, I think that Amorin is right. He is objective and he's been candid to the extent that he's saying that Marcus Rashford, on any given day, per what CEO, their statement is premised on what he's offering in training. And no coach is going to select you in a vacuum. It's going to be based on what you are producing in training.
Sure.
I get to the point. And see, Marcus, what's the name? Amorin wants results. So are you telling me that if Marcus Rashford is giving what he perceives to be something that is going to give him the results, he will not be putting him in the squad? That is absolute rubbish. Because at the end of the day, it is what a player can offer that a coach will see. I get to the point. So for the coach to be so categorical in trying to hammer him in public, right? Because he has done that in private. He has told Marcus Rashford that if you put in the work and I am satisfied, you are going to be part of the team. But since then, this attitude has continued. This attitude.
What do you think his future at United looks like? You think there's a chance, or you think it will be a miracle if he dons a United kit under Amorim again?
It's going to be more than a miracle. I don't see a way back for Marcus Rashford at United unless he changes his mental psyche. Because for now, what is happening is that his minders have advised him that he's already out of United. They are trying to work a deal for him. That is what the possibility is. But I doubt it's going to happen in this window because of the wages that are involved. You see, if you tabulate his wages and you add other incentives that are involved, you are getting close to £500,000 a week.
That's quite a lot.
That is a hell of money. And AC Milan is not ready to pay that. Neither Dortmund is ready to pay that. There are a few clubs in world football that can afford that. And United is not going to agree for him to move out on loan for them to be paying majority of that. It's useless. That is what they have been doing proud, meaning that what they lose a lot of money. And because of the PSR now, they are very careful when it comes to trying to ship out players. Meanwhile, they are paying their wages. If you want to take Marcus Rashford, then you agree to pay majority or half of his wages. So to me, he doesn't have a stay. He doesn't have a place in the current United setup.
That's quite intriguing. But let's also switch to the blue side of Manchester United, that's Manchester City, where over the weekend there was a big game. Everyone was thinking that was actually going to be the biggest game, based on the form of Man City and then also the resurgence of Chelsea. Now, two players made their debuts. Omar Mamouche, who signed from Eintracht Frankfurt, and then also Kuzhinov, the first ever Uzbekistani to have played in the Premier League. Were you satisfied with the performances of both players? And for Kuzhinov, you think he would look back at that first 5 minutes of the game and feel, I really walked away with one. I really, just ran away with one. You think that would be what would be running through his mind after 90 minutes?
He will go back home and sleep for the entirety of the day. Because the first 5-10 minutes was, to be candid with you, the poorest I have seen from a player making his debut. It's clear. It's clear. And you see, no, Vadio came out and said that he wanted to protect him after that 10 minutes. Yeah, you see, he didn't want to expose him to one-on-ones with Cole Palmer and Jackson, because these are players that are established. You understand? And to have committed such a horrendous mistake in the first couple of minutes of the game is going to demoralize you. If you don't take time, you're going to have the poorest game of your entire footballing career. So it is good that they went out there to protect him, try as much as possible for him not to have much of the ball, and they did just that. You understand? But for Omar Mamouche, you can use a debut to judge a player. He was fantastic in Germany for the past 2-3 seasons. He's now in England, new environment, new system altogether. In a team that is not doing that well. But at the end of the day, you can say that, yes, he was good on the day. you saw flashes, you saw glimpses of what he can provide for this City squad. So yes, it's a good
You think he's a
involvement.
perfect replacement for Julian
No,
Alvarez?
it is not a perfect replacement. They can't have a perfect replacement because these are players with different qualities
But do you think
altogether.
he would outdo what Julian Alvarez did?
No, you see, Julian Alvarez is a fantastic player. You understand? This is a guy whom, if you play as a center forward, is going to deliver. If you play him as a number 10, he's going to deliver. If you play him as a false nine, he's going to deliver. If you play him on either flanks, he's going to deliver. I have not seen that from Mamouche yet, because if you look at what he offers with what Mamouche offers, these are two different but fantastic players. It is going to be with time that we can see whether he can outdo or whether he can match what Julian Alvarez added to the Manchester City setup.
But to Chelsea, it looks like the fans have really been, not so happy with their goalkeeping situation. We've seen Chelsea to be a side that leaks in goals, but equally a side that scores when they're attacking. You've been displeased with what you've seen so far with your defense.
As a pundit, right, who loves football, who wants to see goals, I am happy with goals being scored. You understand? But as a Chelsea fan, as somebody who has been a supporter for Chelsea for the past 20 years or for the past 23 years, I believe that the coach is doing us a disservice.
Okay.
Do you understand? Because this should have been
from a fan's perspective.
No, from a fan's perspective, you understand? Because this should have been our easiest game of the season
Against Manchester City.
against Man City. The easiest game.
Etihad.
No, forget it being even if it had been played on a planet Mars, we should have beaten Man City hands down.
So you think Chelsea gave the win away to City just on the platter? They just
it was not even on the silver platter. We actually invited them to come and take the win.
In a takeaway.
And they took it. You understand? Is it? I have indicated continuously, time and time again, right, that we need a center forward. We need a center forward. Our defensive setup is not as strong as we feel it is. I get to see the strongest piece or the strongest part of our whole team is our two defensive players.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Enzo Maresca
Enzo
Fernandez,
and
Caicedo.
or Enzo or Lavia and then Caicedo. And then Cole Palmer.
Okay.
Apart from that, there are leakages everywhere around the pitch. It is up to the coach to address that. Okay. When we are flamboyant, when we are expansive, we are pleasing to see. But the moment the opponent takes the game to us, and you see, on the day, tactically, I think we were naive, because Man City for the past 10 matches have not been able, to get a win against teams that are playing on the transition.
Yeah.
Which means that teams that use the counter-attacking system, they find it easy to outpace Manchester United. So I do not understand why Maresca would rather sit back and not use the pace of their wingers. Because this is a Man City team that is wobbly inadequate, that is lacking in pace and tenacity. We saw what happened against PSG.
Of course.
They were bullied, they were outfought, they were outpaced. So I really don't understand why we did not use the same system, because we have the players to outpace Man City, we have the players to outfight Man City, we have the players to outstruggle Man City. So on what basis did they then decide to stay back and not counter attack? I really do not understand. So he would have to come out and explain.
But I think that big chance that was squandered. We saw how Cole Palmer was trying to play, Jackson on with. It was just a square pass. It was supposed to be a square pass for Jackson to tap in. You think Chelsea were wasteful, just like in the first leg where they created lots of chances and they just wasted them?
Chelsea has always been wasteful. You understand? I mean, wasteful. With my big stomach,
you can score some of the goals.
I could have scored that goal.
But what about Roberts?
No, so I'm coming. Josiah.
Yeah.
I'm saying that
Wait, this big.
When I was active, I weighed 70 kilos.
Okay.
Do you understand? When I was active,
and how competitive was the league or the opposition you faced during that?
See, when I was active, I was facing defenders who don't care, who could just kick you anyhow.
Who even has any idea about these defenders? Who knows that?
See, if I were to be in the EPL, the minimum goal I could score in a season would have been 30. No. See, I could have closed my eyes. See, I'm not being hyperbolic here. I could have closed my eyes, right, and scored that goal that Jackson makes.
But you think the pass was just overhit?
It doesn't matter the pace of the pass. As a centre forward, you need to trust your first instinct. I get to the point. You don't necessarily have to break the pass. Just kick it anywhere. It's going to go. The pole was empty.
So that was how you were scoring your minimum of 30 goals.
Yes. just throw your leg.
But you know, most Chelsea fans haven't really been happy with two departments. The number 9 and the goalkeeper. Which one do you think has really worried Chelsea this season?
If you score more, it doesn't matter how much you concede. Remember in the early 2000s, the Galacticos at Real Madrid, they conceded a lot.
But they were scoring.
Okay. That is the problem.
But you had the goals being shared across, 5-6 players, giving you close to double digits.
Do you know that the amount of chances that the Senegalese guy Jackson misses alone, if he were to score them, nobody would be talking about the blunders that are being committed by Sanchez.
Most definitely.
Yes, because at the end of the day, you see, goalkeepers.
So you don't think Sanchez is that bad?
No, he's bad. Sanchez is
worse
bad.
than Onana.
Oh, they're in the same soup.
They're in the same.
Yes. They're in the same
Siamese twins, eh?
Siamese twins. You can't stop it them. You see, the funny thing is that on their day, they're fantastic.
But
they will save you. But it's always that bad. You understand?
Which is frequent.
What is frequent? That's the problem. Because at the highest level, you are likely to commit blunders, right? But the blunders should not be continuous. If it happens like that, then there are always going to be question marks about your suitability for big games and for big clubs.
Quickly, Arteta is fuming. A quick one on that Mouse Kelly red card. You think VAR had it right? Because Arteta wasn't really so pleased with the verdict. The sending off. He felt it was too harsh. You think it was right?
Yeah, I think it was too harsh. I've always had problems with VAR. You understand? I mean, sometimes you are waiting for.
You didn't see no malice in.
No, there's no malice. You understand? I say football is a contact sport. You understand? I mean, sometimes yes, there's a rush of adrenaline, but sometimes too we need to let the game flow. The reason why people really fell in love with the English Premier League is the fact that previously, the tacklings were high. You understand? They were tough. Physical. But nowadays VAR wants to take that out of the game, and that is what people love.
Aren't the players supposed to be protected?
No, players must be protected, but this is not golf. This is not tennis. You understand? This is not basketball where if you are touched there, they say is it time out or
no, it's a foul.
You understand? This is football. This is the English Premier League. The back and forth. This is what we love about English football. But if VAR is going to be taking away the physicality of the game, and whatever challenge, no matter how small the challenge is, then VAR red card, I don't think it's going to be nice for the English Premier League.
All right, so now let's go to Spain. It was a very tough weekend because we've seen how the title race is shaping up. Real Madrid managed to get their win. We'll be talking about them in a bit. But Barcelona, is it that they just know how to wallop teams, but when they're losing, they do it gracefully? What's happening to them? Because 7 past Valencia, it's huge. But do you think, or do you see them continuing with this impressive run, or you think it's just, out of the blue, they scored that and they might revert to being poor again?
Barcelona is blowing hot and cold. You understand? It's like a girlfriend who gives you her best version today, and then the next time gives you her worst version. You understand?
So you don't know which one you could get at any point in time.
You don't know which one you could get. You understand? But you see, what was working for them prior is what is now working for them again.
Okay.
With what's the name? The young chap. What's the name?
Lamine Yamal.
Lamine Yamal coming back into the. I mean, the pass he gave for the first goal. There were 3 options, right? So when I was watching the game, I thought that the first option would have been the best pass, to I think that was Pedri, right in front of the defender, just give the ball face off, and then went to the third option.
That's Dijon.
You understand? And you see the grace with which he passes the game, the grace with which he passes the ball. Yes, I mean, it's like there's no level of difficulty in what he does. You understand? I mean, the way he's able to wink around his defenders, his markers, and it's like they are not there. It's like he's a spirit operating in his own sphere. You understand? And if you have him maintaining his composure, maintaining his fitness, which is one of the most important things, and maintaining his form, Barcelona would, on a regular basis, give you what they gave against Valencia. But if there's a wobbling effect when it comes to fitness issues and a loss of form on the part of Lamine Yamal, that it affects the collective. And I really do not know why an 18-year-old, right, should be the benchmark for this Barcelona team with Frankie de Jong, with Rafinha, with Dani Olmo, and then Lewandowski, for an 18-year-old to be the centerpiece, holding all the jigsaw together. I really don't understand, but it's going to be quite difficult for them to overhaul Madrid at the top of the league, though.
You think they are too far gone?
It's not out of sight, but with the current nature of Madrid and the way Barcelona is playing currently, it's a long season.
But I think they'll drop points going forward, because we've seen them drop points in their last 10 or so La Liga games. They've dropped points against Getafe, Leganés, Las Palmas, Atletico Madrid. You think we'll see them dropping more points?
They are going to drop a lot of points. I get to the point. I mean, the fact that they scored 7 against Valencia doesn't mean that they are going to be so flamboyant, expansive throughout the season again. They are going to drop points. But the problem is that, are they going to be dropping points while Madrid keeps on winning? It's not good. Madrid is also going to drop points, right? But so it depends on the team that is going to build a certain momentum, go 7, 8, 10 matches winning on the trot, and that is going to define who is likely to have momentum going into the championship rounds.
Now, to Madrid themselves, they were without Vini Jr., but there wasn't any sort of problems for them. You know, there were no worries at all, zero worries, because Kylian Mbape ended up walking home with a match ball for the first time in his Madrid career. He bagged himself a hat-trick. But you think that earlier on when he signed for Madrid, there were questions about, player positioning, where he was going to play, where he would love to attack, his most favorable, region of attacking. And all of a sudden, there's no Vini Jr. Then, he plays as a number 9, drifts wide a bit, and scores a hat-trick. You think this thing could be a problem again once Vini Jr. returns to the setup? Because Kylian Mbappe, despite the fact that he started slowly at Madrid, he scored 22 goals already. Have you been impressed with him?
Josiah, prior to the start of the season, we sat in the same chair and we discussed the probabilities and the likelihoods, tactically and technically. We were talking about the positioning of all the players up front, infusing, Bellingham, dropping Bellingham, where should he play, and the rest. And then we started the season, and then Madrid started slowly. And especially, what's his name again?
Vini Jr.
No.
Kylian
Mbappe started really poorly. And I sat in the same chair and I told you that Kylian Mbappe is one of the best players in the world. The fact that he has started slowly doesn't mean that he's a bad player. He's going to come good. And all the people who were criticizing Kylian Mbappe for not being one of the best or for starting slowly, I did say, or I did indicate, that they did not or they do not understand football. Kylian Mbappe is going to come good, and he's coming good. No matter where you place Kylian Mbappe in that front three of the Madrid setup, he's going to function properly. Kylian Mbappe has been able to score goals with Vinicius Jr. in the team. He's been able to score goals without Vinicius Jr. in the team. It just tells you that they have so much credibility in their attacking third that whoever plays, there are going to be goals. Remember that it is not necessarily about lack of goals this season. It's about the understanding. And
are they beginning to find that?
They are beginning to find it. If they can, see, it's all about creating momentum. If you look at a goal that was scored by Rodrigo, right, with a pass from Bellingham, fantastic. It's all about knowing what your player is going to do, what the thinking rationale of your player. And where Rodrigo gave the ball to Bellingham, the fact that his back was facing the post and was able to give the back pass. Rodrigo did not touch the ball. Rodrigo was on the run, but he knew
that he would move into space.
He just have to move into space, anticipating what your player was going to do. And he knows that Bellingham has the capacity to give such a pass at a one-time goal. It's the same thing that happens with Vinicius and then Vinicius and then Kylian Mbappe. As time goes on, they are going to understand each other. And remember, Kylian Mbappe did say that when you are at Madrid, you don't expect your fellow players to give you the ball. I get to the point. He has understood the fact that every single player in the Madrid setup is a big fish. Do you understand? So you don't come onto the pitch
expecting everyone to play to the train.
No! you would have to find yourself in that you're going to say in that jigsaw. Do you understand? You would have to play your part. Because you have Vinicius, you have Rodrigo, you have Bellingham, you have Tony Valverde. These are stars. And without you, these people have won 3 Champions Leagues, right? So what are you going to teach them? What are you going to do that they haven't done before? So you've come to be a part of them. You've not come to lord over them. So that is what is happening currently. So, and the fact that he has admitted that, he has shown his humility that he's ready to learn. He's ready to be a part of the whole set. It's going to go well for him whether he plays with Vinicius or without Vinicius. It is left for Carlo Ancelotti to find a system that is suitable for all the attacking players that he has.
Currently, he's doing that. But how many goals do you think he could end up scoring? Well, in January hasn't ended yet, and he's on 22. You think Kylian could, get to 40, 45, 50? What do you think would be the mark for him at the end of the season?
What is currently in my mind is 40.
You think Kylian
could easily score 40. You see, Vinicius must understand that he's not a natural goal scorer. Okay. Vinicius is more a Neymar. Vinicius is more a Robinho. Vinicius is more a Ronaldinho. They create. You understand? I mean, they give you that aesthetics when it comes to football, the pleasing football that we all want to see. Kylian Mbappe is not like that. Kylian Mbappe has much more pace than Vinicius Jr. Kylian Mbappe has much more, natural goal scoring ability instincts than Vinicius Jr. So if Vinicius understands that, he's going to get a couple of goals, but he's going to be more of the creator. He's going to be more of the guy who's going to, bring that aesthetics, that pleasing football to the public. That is going to go well for them, because if he has a chance and there's a Kylian Mbappe where he can, just lead the ball for Kylian Mbappe to score, he will gladly do it, because he has taken on that role as well as the creator. And sometimes the pundits do not understand why there should be players who are just happy to create. Just like Ozil. Yeah. Ozil was happy to create. Yeah.
That was his job primarily.
That was primarily. You understand? So when we are talking about football, we tend to forget those who make football beautiful. And we tend to praise those who...
And you think Vinicius Jr. would actually come to live with that fact that he's now the chief creator and Kylian will have to do the banging of the goals whilst he creates? Would he enjoy that after the Ballon d'Or snub, getting onto the podium at the FIFA Best Awards, claiming the ultimate prize? You think he'll be okay with that?
No, I'm not saying that he's going to just be the creator. Vinicius Jr. is going to score goals. Let's not take that away from him.
Not more than Kylian Mbappe.
Not more than Kylian Mbappe. That's the point. The reason being that Kylian Mbappe is not playing as the focus, as the lead. I get to the point. He is closest to the goal, and whoever is closest to the goal tend to score much more goals. And you see, the attributes of Kylian Mbappe makes him a suitable goal scorer compared to Vinicius Jr. Sure. Vinicius Jr. will take the ball and will want to dribble before he gets closer to the pole. Kylian Mbappe takes the ball and his first instinct is what? Is to get closer to the goal. Yeah. So these are the different criteria that you have to see to say who can create best or who can score best. So when you look at the qualities that both have, to me, I can confidently say that Vinicius is going to score goals, but Kylian Mbappe is going to score much more goals than Vini.
All right, so quickly, in the Serie A, Napoli overturned a 1-0 scoreline, beating Juventus. They actually handed Juventus their first loss this season. Napoli are gradually marching to the title. And there's one man behind all that. He is a serial winner. He's a perennial winner. And that's Antonio Conte. You're surprised they're still, pushing towards the title?
No, I'm not surprised. You understand? I mean, we've known Antonio Conte. Antonio, you see, when he came to Tottenham, he told them that their mentality is so weak. I
think Napoli they've got that mentality.
No, it's not about mentality. It's about the coach bringing that mentality to the club.
But why didn't
the club willing? And the club willing to appreciate and buy into that mentality. Right. You see, if a coach tells you that I want a player, I want this player, I want this player, try as much as possible to get those players for the coach. Even if you don't get them, get at least one or two out of it. But he said he wanted what's the name? The Belgian striker.
Okay, Romelu Lukaku. Instead of Osimhen.
Yeah. He said he wanted Romelu Lukaku. Get me Romelu Lukaku. The same thing when he came to Chelsea. He told the Chelsea hierarchy, get me Romelu Lukaku from when he was leaving Manchester United. Yeah. Get me Romelu Lukaku and I will win the league for you. Do you understand? He went to Tottenham and he told them, get me certain players and I'm going to win the league with the mentality that I have. But the players are comfortable playing in the top four. And he came out categorically to chastise, to criticize the whole hierarchy. I get to the point. And he's gone to Napoli. And you see, last season we all saw what happened to Napoli. They were shambolic, they were poor. But look at where they are currently. So it tells you that what one person can change the entirety of what a team's thinking, right? Because last 2 seasons, Osimhen was their top scorer, top scorer in the top scorer in almost every facet of their game. Last season, he was still their top scorer, but he didn't have a fantastic season.
Yeah.
This season, Conte comes in and says that no, I don't like Osimhen, right? Get me 1, 2, 3 players, and we are going to fight for the Serie A. And that's exactly what is happening. These are Serie A winners, and they are known to winning. And you see, I am not surprised at all. The only problem is that can they push Inter Milan to the wire? Because Inter is charging and charging and charging. Because for the past 2 seasons, they've been the best team when it comes to the Italian Serie A. And they are not far off Napoli. They are just 3 points off Napoli. And if Conte and then Napoli can hold Inter at par, and they win the league, it's going to be one of the best leagues that has ever been won in the Italian Serie A.
Oh, that's great. So it's been, like we promised from the beginning, it's been a comprehensive wrap, a review from all the action throughout the weekend within the European top 5 leagues. Chelsea not being able to win. Manchester City's 2 new signings on their debut, Kushyanov and then also Marmoush. What has Ruben Amorin been saying about Marcus Rashford? So it's been quite a lot, but it's always insightful and educative when you have Atiga Mauli and the rest of the name he would mention himself. But don't forget to bring your comment. You can also have your say in the comment section. Just put in your comment. We'll be reading them for you as time goes on. And then also subscribe to the channel. And let me say a big thank you to Atiga Mauli for being a wonderful part of the show.